Sometimes it feels like Trump's his own worst enemy, like he's constantly tripping over his own contradictions,
Hmm.
right? And well, his record shows that he's been simultaneously hyping doom and then casually shrugging it off when it suits him.
Right, exactly. I mean, here's a guy who warned us about a 1929 style depression if his opponent wins. And then later in an interview, he practically downplayed any risks of a recession.
Ah, yeah,
It's like he's literally tossing scare tactics around as if they're confetti at a parade.
absolutely. And then there's the whole bit about religion. First, he's all overboard saying we're bringing back fundamental values, praying, trying to score those evangelical
Yep.
votes. And then, in a wild twist, he starts making a meme out of it, almost mocking the very same religion he once championed.
It's like he's playing both sides to, well, see which one sticks later on. I mean, come on. How can you switch gears that quickly without, losing credibility?
Exactly. It's like he's tossing his own playbook out the window. And then there's that part about him slamming Biden for what he calls weaponizing the Department of Justice, only to engage in basically the same behavior himself with probationary
Hmm.
employees. It's sort of a classic case of do as I say, not as I do, all over again.
Yeah, and it reminds me of a time when I saw a sports coach who passionately criticized his own tactics only to repeatedly mess up in practice. Like he's his own adversary.
Right? It's like he's built this persona that thrives off conflict and creating controversy, but then he inadvertently hands his critics the perfect ammunition without even trying. One moment he's issuing
Exactly.
impossible ultimatums, and the next he's admitting he could follow a Supreme Court order if he wanted to.
And that admission, well, it's a real bombshell. I mean, it's not every day you hear a president basically say, yeah, I could do what the court wants, but nah, I just won't. That's incredibly self
Mhm.
sabotaging. It basically undercuts his entire narrative about having no authority to act, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And then there's that bizarre episode revolving around the manipulated tattoos on Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Right, right.
Trump tried to pin gang affiliations on these generic tattoos, which experts have outright dismissed as nothing more than common symbols.
Yeah, it's like an attempt to manufacture controversy using um, clearly doctored evidence. And that photoshopping of letters and numbers, it's almost laughable how it just falls apart under
Mhm.
scrutiny, isn't it? It really shows that when you mix dodgy evidence with self serving rhetoric, the whole structure just, well, crumbles.
Exactly. And the fact that even his allies are starting to get concerned about his contradictions really highlights the self defeating nature of his approach. You see, when you're constantly uh, pointing fingers at everyone else while committing the same acts, it just undercuts your entire position.
Yep, it's like shooting yourself in the foot and then blaming the floor. And you can tell from the tone of these criticisms that it's not simply political mudslinging, it's an exposure of deeper insecurities at play. The narrative seems to be that by all this contradictory behavior, Trump not only sabotages his chances legally and politically, but he um, actually gives his adversaries the ammunition they need to dismantle his case.
That's so true. I mean, his conflicting messages about economic hardship and then claiming everything's fine, his rapid flip flop on religious endorsement. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, only you can't help but feel that Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it's like he's living a real life reality show only where the script writes itself. And let's not forget the moment where he clearly stated that he had the power to comply with the court order for Garcia, but he purposely chose not to. That to me is the ultimate admission of disregard for the rule of law. It smacks of a chilling
Mhm.
arrogance that he believes he can simply operate above the legal framework.
Exactly. And it almost seems as if he's intentionally blurring the line between being a political leader and, well, a puppet of his own chaotic, self destructive impulses. It's a bit like watching a magician reveal his trick and then accidentally throwing the props
Yes,
into the
it's a
audience.
spectacle that leaves you both amused and, frankly, a bit alarmed. Seriously, it's a reminder that when a leader can't keep his own narrative straight, it inevitably backfires on him. It's a perfect case study in self-inflicted political damage. And as we piece together these moments, from contradictory economic warnings to manipulated evidences, it paints a very clear picture of a man who is, by his own actions, undermining his own position.
Precisely. The interesting twist is in how these contradictions are so boldly on display. They almost give us this unfiltered view of a personality in constant internal conflict.
Right? It's like watching a drama unfold in real time with unscripted plot twists. And I think it raises some important questions about the nature of political leadership when personal contradictions directly impact public policy and, well, legal accountability. Doesn't it just blow your mind how self-sabotage can be so catastrophic?
Absolutely. It's like a domino effect. One slip and everything collapses. Yeah, and it's a salient lesson. When your actions consistently undercut your own message, you eventually end up proving your critics right. And in this case, that's turned Trump's own words into the most compelling evidence against him.
So, in the end, it really seems that his greatest adversary isn't the political opponents or even the media. It's, his own inability to stay on message without contradicting himself. And that self-inflicted turmoil could very well be his most lasting legacy.
Well put. And it's a wild ride to see how these self-contradictions evolve into real political ammunition in his legal and public battles. It almost feels like watching a self-dramatizing saga that he keeps writing on the fly.
Totally. It's a show that you can't look away from, no matter how much it pits logic against spectacle. Yeah, it's fascinating and a bit terrifying how personal flaws can, over time, turn into a public, almost legal hazard. Thanks for breaking all that down. It's, an incisive reminder that sometimes the toughest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves.
Exactly. And if there's one takeaway, it's that self-reflection, or the lack thereof, doesn't just harm personal credibility, it can completely dismantle a career.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, that wraps up our deep dive into the curious case of a leader undone by his own contradictions. Thanks for tuning in and engaging with these insights.